Today, close to 15 lakh Indians are studying abroad. They're spending anywhere between 50 lakh to 2 crore rupees on these courses. And I see this firsthand. I'm in my 20s and almost everyone around me is talking about foreign education as the ultimate dream. But does it really make sense? Especially from a financial standpoint. Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down in this video. Today, I'll take you through the real cost of studying abroad and how it plays out in real life. I spoke to 3 people who've actually lived through these experiences.
So hi, my name is Akshay Sharma. I went for my master's in London Business School.
Hi, I am Pulkit Lalwani. So the university I chose for studying Masters of Professional Accounting was Griffith University.
Hi, I am Saurabh and I went to International Master's Program with Bocconi.
Hi folks, I'm Akanksha and you're watching FinShots TV. We are a part of 0-01 network, so don't forget to subscribe. Let's dive in. It all starts right here. This is a coaching center for exams like GMAT, GRE, IELTS, TOEFL, etc. Akshat, who took the GMAT, gives us a breakdown of the cost.
It's around 90,000 to 1 lakh if you take a full, I would say 3 to 4 month course, which covers everything, all the materials, all the preparation as well. But then all these applications to these foreign business schools are in the range of 8 to 10,000 per application. Sometimes you get an application waiver, which is basically you don't need to pay the fee, you can apply for free, but that's for a limited set of universities only. If I talk about myself, so I applied to 3 universities, HEC Paris, London Business School and ISB in India. So ISB in India, the application fee is around 4 to 5,000. HEC and LBS are similar in the range of 10 to 12,000. So that's the application fee.
This story isn't different if you take GRE, IELTS, LSATs or any other specialized university entrance exam. Pulkit took the IELTS, Saurabh took the Bocconi entrance exam. And both of them ended up paying similar amounts as Akshay did for his GMAT prep. So assuming you spent 1 lakh on coaching, around 30,000 rupees on the entrance exam, and you applied to 4 universities, you've spent around 10,000 for each application. So far, you've already spent around 1,70,000 rupees and you've not even gotten admission yet. Sometime later, you hear back from these universities and you have to choose which college you want to go to. Then come the next set of costs. Visa fees, admission expenses, flight tickets, books, study materials, clothes, etc. You can't wear the clothes you wear here in the tropical climate somewhere in Europe or in the USA. In all of this, you might spend anywhere between 2.5 lakh to 3 lakh rupees. So now the total expense has come up to 4.7 lakh rupees. Then you fly to your college to start your new life. This is where the tuition and the living expenses come in.
The living expenses in London being a very expensive city, you guys must be knowing. So it's generally like in the range of per month you need to spend near about 2.5 lakhs or something like that. This includes everything: the rent, the food, eating out, some shopping as well. You might even travel as well. That's the maximum I think that you would need if you live in a good area. But obviously if you cut down on that specific area, if you don't want to live in or if you don't travel that much, then obviously it can come down. But the maximum I think you would be spending is 25 to 30 lakhs. So tuition fee was around 40-45 lakhs plus these 25-30 lakhs. So it amounted to around 70-75 lakhs.
The course fee is around 25 lakh for international students. With scholarship, there are some rebates that you can get after that. Bocconi, there are college accommodation also. There are more on the expensive side. Because we were there for a shorter duration, we preferred Airbnb. Like I preferred Airbnb, split it with other guys. So it would come somewhere around 800 euros, 800 to 1,000 euros a month, excluding the utilities. And then you would eat out, and because again, if you want to cook, you can, but you would eat out. So daily cost of around 30 euros for food and some utilities, and then travel if you're staying far or that.
So the tuition fee for one trimester was roughly around $15,000, and this was back in 2019. So one Australian dollar would be roughly 50 rupees. And at that point of time, I remember I had 20 lakh rupees in my bank account. This was fully earned by me through trading or other sorts of activities, through part-time jobs that I did. So while my admission got confirmed at the Griffith University, at that point of time, I had roughly 20 lakh rupees in my bank account. Now 10 lakh had to be deposited for the first trimester fees. Now the idea was simple. I'll go to Australia, work as a part-time, get the minimum wage that the government had said, which was $19.5 per hour, and my master's was sorted. But there was a twist in the story. The twist was there were hundreds and thousands of people like me who were thinking the same. And because of this, while the job seekers were very high, the number of jobs that existed were pretty low. Now remember, government had mandated $19.5 per hour to be paid by the employer to the employee. Now, employers started taking benefit out of this. Now, employers got very clever. Since they know that there were very high job applicants that existed, they started offering very less pay to these job applicants. They would pay as little as $8 per hour because they knew there were a lot of candidates that were ready to take up this job and not work at what the government had mandated them to pay. Now, because of the situation like this, I had to basically take a job which was $8 an hour, right? But the expenses at the other end were also accumulating day by day. Now, because of the situation, a 20-year-old me had taken few jobs which paid $8 per hour, but it was getting very difficult to manage the regular expenses. Say for example, to stay in a rented house, for a small room, I had to pay $500 per week to just stay there, which included electricity, which included water, and this did not include any transportation or food charges. So add food, add transportation, add the books cost, and add all the recreational activities that I did there. So this cost roughly turned out to be roughly $700 per week. Now, if you accumulate all the weekly expenses and translate into a month, it would roughly translate to around $2,000 to $2,500 per month, which in rupee term would be around a lakh or a 1.25 lakh rupees just to survive in Australia at that point of time.
Pulkit is not alone in going through this harrowing experience. There are multiple reports of thousands of Indian students who struggle to make ends meet while living abroad. But despite knowing this, that there are so many challenges, why do people choose to study abroad? The tuition fee can cost anywhere between 50 to 60 lakh rupees. Living expenses can cost anywhere around 30 to 40 lakh rupees, bringing the total expense, adding everything, to over a crore rupees. But is it actually worth it?
Placements are not like in India. So therein you don't get campus placements where companies come to your campus and you get placed. Instead of that, it's more like you reach out to people for coffee chats, try to see how their experience has been in the company, what is the interview process, and then they help you connect with the right people in the HR. So because of LBS, I truly believe that I'll have a global career, because at the time of getting the offer from that boutique firm in the UK, I also had offers from Hong Kong. I had one offer from Dubai as well. So that means I was talking to people from very different backgrounds and I was able to kind of convince them about myself. So I believe that even in the future, if I have plans to move somewhere outside India and maybe reach out to different people, I know kind of how to approach that, whom to contact in a particular company, and all of this was because of that networking skill set that I was able to get from the LBS background.
So if we have to do a comparison between NMIMS and Bocconi with their finance program per se. So NMIMS were setting up the base skills, right? They had to prepare from ground up because again, a lot of different people came in for that program. So while they prepared for the base skill set, Bocconi took it one step ahead where they were preparing you for the corporate market, for the job market. So it was more practical, it was more driven from the insights of what's happening around the globe, what is relevant currently. So they had more courses about AI and finance as well, more about the current happenings, and the professors there would be people who are actively participant of the industry. So there are folks who have their own PE, VC firms and they're coming and teaching. And actively teaching, not part-time or taking 1 or 2 lectures, but they actively take courses because they're active in the market and they relate to what's happening and what the current job force needs to be the part of that force. So placements in Bocconi is unlike Indian colleges, right? Like they would not have a direct placement, but there is a career fair where a lot of companies come and tell you about what the current openings are, what are they're looking in future for hiring, and there are a lot of alumni that come that are representing those companies, so you can have a more casual conversation with them. So it's a very big networking opportunities where you build up your network, where you scout out your companies and then you actively or diligently follow with them and work with them in the entire hiring process.
So the idea of pursuing MPA from abroad was very simple. Indian bachelors did not really help me get really good skills. So the idea was, if I go to a foreign university, maybe I can get better skills which are at my forte to give me a better job. But this proved fatal once I went there and actually studied. They also followed the same pattern that existed in India, which was come, learn from us, do not think of the practical aspects, and just focus on getting marks. The assignments were brutal, the projects were brutal, and on top of it, the exams were pretty easy. So easy that the Masters of Professional Accounting course in first trimester could actually be cleared by first year student of a BCom honors. Now, at this point of time, all my monthly expenses were piling up, which were basically eating away my savings. And I had to also plan for the next trimester fees. Now, I was not alone in this situation. There were multiple Indian students who were in my class and were struggling to find a job too.
Now you can see that foreign education is actually quite expensive. But was it really worth it? Did it really give all these people's career the boost that they really wanted? Let's figure out.
Financially, it did make a lot of sense for me at least, and I know for a lot of friends of mine also who had taken like some loans as well. So 12 to 14 lakhs I was making in India at ZS. Now the like the costing and all, so it was like 40 to 45 lakhs the original fee, but I had to pay around 35-40 lakhs plus another 25-30 lakhs for the living. So near about it was 60 to 65 lakhs that I paid. And post that also, like after graduating, I was making around 65 lakhs in the boutique consulting firm. Because like the immediate the hike in your salary is like crazy there, and you're able to kind of like save a lot in London. Depends on your lifestyle also, but the amount is quite good.
Bocconi is in Italy, right? So it's a English-speaking nation. So there are of course challenges associated with that. Biggest is placements, right? If you were to look in placements within Italy, you require to have some sort of understanding of Italian, basic Italian, where you are able to understand or communicate with your colleagues at least. That is a very big challenge if you're not able to pick that language up. You're limited by the choices of placement that you have. A lot of companies that come to the placements are for Italian region only. So you would require to have understanding of the language. If I have to calculate the years that I've put for MBA also and the money that I put, the jump was, there is definitely a jump that you expect because you skip again 2-3 levels. But if I would have stayed there, eventually like in again those 2-3 years, I would have bridged that gap. So if the core goal is just to get the salary hike, then it might not make a very big financial sense if you look at a long-term horizon, because eventually you'll get there anyway. It's just a matter of 2 years.
At that point of time, multiple things were happening. A, I had to go to a college. B, I had to finish my assignment. C, I had to start looking for jobs which paid me better. D, I had to go to work to places that paid me far lesser than what I deserved to. And E, I was contemplating whether I had made the right decision or not. So at this point of time, the brain was actually not in the right condition. And I was probably thinking, probably I should go back home and rectify this decision. While this was panning out, I spoke to 2 of my senior folks that had just graduated from this university. And one thing that this said was very shocking, which was the college did not offer any placement guarantees unlike India, which made me question the decision of going back again. Now at this point of time, my trader instinct kicked in. A, I could take the stop loss of having 6 months and the expenses that I did let go, or fall into the sunk cost fallacy and continue what I was doing, which is next 1.5 years, same life as what I had been through in the last 6 months. So I took the stop loss and made a decision to come back to India and pursue my regular job.
So what do these stories tell us? For Akshat, he went to the best university and he feels like it was worth it. For Saurabh, it seems like a mixed bag of experiences. And for Pulkit, it seems like a tough lesson. These stories tell us that going abroad and studying is probably not a one-shot solution for all your career-related problems. You could try to go to Indian universities that could give you the same level of global exposure. But if you have made your mind on going abroad, make sure you go to the best of the best universities. Because if you're paying with your family savings or through a loan, there's no margin for error. So if you're making the choice, make it count. So this is where it leaves us. Now you tell us, if given the choice, would you pursue education from a foreign institution? Let us know in the comments. See you on the other side.